What's up?
Hello.
Can't hear you, my dog Boobs. I think you're muted right now.
I was muted. Hey!
Hey, what's up? Are you really quickly before we get into this, because I know that the microphone situation was a little complex last time.
Oh yes, I have it on that setting you showed me.
Oh, cool. You sound good. Can you actually do me a favor and just like rub the mic of both of them, actually, your headphone mic and your other one? I want to make sure that you're not. Yeah, there we go. Great.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that you weren't miking out of your headphones, because I think sometimes
perfect.
that defaults that way. It just did that for me. So
got it.
What's up? What's up, fellow gamers? How we doing?
This week has gone by so fast. I can't believe it's Thursday already.
It's been crazy. I can't wait.
Hey, I feel you.
I'm very enthusiastic about cascading towards our inevitable doom at a quicker rate. I think
me too.
You know?
Also, Friday, I love your hair right now.
I had a rough night.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a wild night.
This. Yeah, I don't, because you're in like deep dad mode, so I assume it has something to do with that. But the way that you phrased it to us in text messages, you're like, man, can't believe I actually got here tonight. Man.
It was the way I phrased it was like I walked here from Alaska or something. I just barely made it in time.
No, you just like it's like Travis last week. Thanks for everybody who listened to our episode with Travis Morningstar about stop drinking. Really good episode, I thought.
That was a crazy story when he woke up in the middle of like 39th Avenue, New York City.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he like barely made it to his new job on time. That's what is happening in my head with you. I assume that's your experience.
No, I got my second COVID shot yesterday morning.
Oh.
And by the time I went to bed, I was feeling like I feel like this is like before. It was the feeling of before you get sick.
Yeah.
And I went to bed, and then just all through the night I had like fevers, like the hots and the cold chills and the sweats and the freezings, and like that went on, till 6 this morning when I finally fell asleep, and then it was like time to get up and podcast, and I was like, I feel weird.
Man.
But I felt better this morning. But like in the middle of the night, I was talking to myself, going like, "There's no way I can podcast. There's no way I could do it.
There's no fucking way.
I'm having weird fever dreams, man.
It's
crazy."
Shit.
So I haven't.
That's called resilience, my friend.
So I have not done my hair. I have not done my hair this morning. You fucking losers.
Dude.
That would be if we had Monica in the green room right now, which we'll have her on in about half an hour. That'd be a great segue, because today we're going to be talking about deciding to be better. So it's all about taking that little extra step of resilience so you can be your best. And that's not giving up.
So real. God.
Your dreams. It's not giving up on the podcasting dream or
the old podcasting dream.
But how you doing, Doc? How's your week going?
It's going great. With the old day job, I have pretty much doubled my workload because we had someone quit.
Decide to be better.
I decided to be better.
Good job.
Yeah. So I've just been over caffeinating, and I like see myself in my work my work Zoom meetings, and my eyes are just like
bugged out.
I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like jitter.
You've gone full Jim Carrey.
Yes, it's crazy. And it's usually when I'm like, yeah, and it's like almost always when I'm like kicking off a project with someone brand new who's never like met me or worked at this company before. Right. So I'm always like, hey, are you ready to start? It's gonna be great. We're doing it the dumbest stuff. Like, here we go, it's due in 5 minutes. And it's like crazy eyes. So it's been a week. I can't believe it's Thursday.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I've I don't know if I've discussed this publicly in the pod, but I've been taking, this is actually something we're eventually going to do. I want to do a subreddit on Afenil. There's a subreddit called r/Afenil, which is all about a sleep medication called modafinil or armodafinil, and they're made to like keep you from falling asleep. Before we do that, actually, really quickly, because I didn't do this last week. I don't know why I didn't do this, but this is Did You Reddit? By the way, a podcast about the internet by way of right at the front page of the internet. My name is It's Your Dad.
And I'm the dog boobs.
And I'm My Free Day.
Yeah.
I made it.
Fatigued.
We're all here.
Tired. But vaccinated. My free
fully
day.
Waxed, and ready to be taxed.
Ready to be taxed.
There we go.
Woo!
From behind. Woo!
Vaxxed, waxed, and ready to be taxed.
That was a Reddit post, right? There was somebody on an airplane, I think, with like the T-shirt on their way to Vegas.
Yeah.
Vaxxed and waxed. And I just thought taxed because I still have not done my taxes.
Yeah.
You don't have to,
but I gotta do it.
People don't tell you, but doing your taxes is actually voluntary. So
I love that. I've just read the most infuriating thing. Like, I think we all are kind of aware of this. Peripherally, but Jobo Biden.
That's what my kid calls him. Jobo Biden.
Jobo. God bless Jobo. No, it's like when I can't shit, now I lost my train of thought here. Jobo Biden.
Fuck taxes.
So like TurboTax and all these stupid big tax have been lobbying in this country to make taxes difficult for all of us. So other countries are like doing it automatically. Like they have all of our information. They could just do it. But no, we have to like carve out like a couple hours where we're going to get really confused, get it wrong, either not get like the refund we deserve or get fucked in 5 years when the government's like, oh, by the way, you did it wrong. And it's not TurboTax's fault. It's your fault.
My Finnish friend, no surprise here, but in Finland, it's like, it takes like, what's like one click and it's done.
It's like, did you want to do them? And you're like, yes.
Done.
Boom, done.
Your
refund
on the downside,
or go to prison.
Yeah.
Well, I think the system, like in Finland, everyone is honest, it seems like, and they're like, I made 75,000 salty salmons this year. Because that's what they get paid in
that's
over
their
there.
currency. Yeah.
That's their currency. Salted whitefish. Yeah. And then they like get like 52% taken away or something. And it's like a lot, but that's just the way it is. Here, everyone's like, they try to take a lot. And everyone's like, I will try to cheat you as hard as I can. Like that's the system here.
And it's like in Finland, it's like, look at our beautiful roads. And in here it's like, you have to pay us, a third of your paycheck. You're not going to get roads, guys. You got roads in the 50s. Okay. Stop being greedy. You're not getting roads. You're not getting education, and you're not getting health care. I'm like, what are we getting?
Last night, Jobo Biden.
We get prisons.
Prisons.
Yeah, we get prisons. Jobo Biden had his State of the Union, didn't he, last night? Or
Joe.
Why was it on a Wednesday?
He had his like first 100 days or something like that. Isn't it? By the way, because I was just seeing this on Reddit. I was like, you know what? We got half an hour to burn before we start talking to Monica. And what are we going to talk about? And I was like, that was one of the things that came up where it was like his 100 days, and I was kind of like, kind of didn't know about that. I'm like, that's kind of nice that I don't know about things anymore. Like I don't care, and no one's forcing me to care. Things are just happening, and I'm just like, cool.
Back to normal politics of not caring.
It's like, what's sad? It's like, this isn't the right thing either. Like we should care, but when we live in a like, it was so hard for those years to care so intensely and like realize how helpless we are in this country. Like at least right now, like, and I respect the people that are, fighting the fight and like, wanted to burn it down, lighting those matches next to the farts of revolution, to burn it all down. Like I love that.
Jeff, what weapon did you bring to the revolution? I I brought matches that I'm going to light on fire in front of people. I'm going to be the fart matches guy. Yeah, that's
I don't even remember how this Australian character developed. I don't know when this happened. Jeff.
He's the only guy that he's the only name we can say in an Australian accent, I think. It gets you into the accent.
That's true. We can't do any other accent. It's what it is.
But anyway,
Jeff is he's balding. He likes to party.
He's balding. He likes to party. He rolls up into the podcast at 6 a.m. and decides
lights
to be
his
better.
Farts on fire. Decides to be better.
So politics are dumb. I'm glad we're not paying attention. Sorry you don't feel well, Free Day. What I was gonna say, just because I know that we do this lovely we're gonna talk about a thing, and then we wander off for an hour. So armodafinil. So at some point I want to do this episode because I think it's an interesting thing, and I've been taking armodafinil for basically a decade, and I don't know if it presumably is not good for me, but I've just been doing it because caffeine doesn't work great. I get way too tired. I don't ever get enough sleep. And it's just, I got to fucking change my lifestyle, which is probably something we're going to talk about. But lately I'm like, I need to not take armodafinil as much. I take Ritalin now. So I stopped. I take something entirely different.
Cool.
And everybody Ritalin is got this, and I take it legally, I was prescribed. I mean, I basically went to a neurologist once, and I was just I don't know if I'm going crazy, but this armodafinil thing is pretty heavy duty, and I feel like I've been taking it for a long time. Maybe my brain is calcifying, what's going on.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're fine. Nothing that you're saying or being or whatever indicates that there's a problem.
Good.
However, if you really want help,
your brain is crystal now. It's one giant. Exactly. You're like, oh no.
Oh no. But he was like, but I can prescribe you Adderall or Ritalin, and Adderall has such a bad rep, and I was just like, I don't know if Adderall's a thing. I don't want to get addicted to it. Never taken Ritalin. I'm happy to get it, and so it's been basically sitting in my proverbial medicine cabinet for 3 years because I was just afraid to take it.
Yeah.
And then I decided to stop taking my other one and start taking this one instead, and it's been better. But the reason I brought this up is because it is always one of those things where it's it's exactly what you said earlier about the coffee thing, where you're just you'll be on meetings, you'll be every once in a while I have that where I'm just
you're I gotta dial it back.
I'm extremely hyped up right now. I need to fucking chill. And so I'm constantly trying to figure out how to I mean, I say this both joking and serious. I'm constantly trying to figure out how to be as awake as possible with as little sleep as possible, which I need to stop doing.
Damn.
But I don't know how.
Yeah.
I do not know how.
I think the pie chart or the Venn diagram of what you're trying to pull off is impossible in nature. I think not just you, it's everybody in a job, right?
Why gotta be such a downer, dude? You're so negative.
Impossible in nature. Fuck.
No, I mean, you're trying to be extremely productive and extremely busy all day.
Yes.
And then be focused in meetings and be upbeat. You have to be really happy now. Everyone's expects you to be positive. Hey!
Yeah.
Dude, guess what? People that are hey are all on meth. That's a fact.
For the first few days.
And so you're sort of asking a lot out of your personality for so many hours straight. It's hard not to try to add something to that mix.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's normal. I think everybody's probably on some sort of a thing.
God.
Hey, what's up, Perpetual 90s kid? Perpetual 90s kid, Shia LaDouche. What's up?
Hey guys.
In our Saudi Arabian politics forum. Welcome. Anyway, so man, I felt the same way about Adderall and avoided it for years, but neglected to realize that if you have ADHD, it's not going to affect you the way it affects folks without ADHD. Ritalin turned me into basically an emotionless robot unless I was mad, and I already have anger issues. Interested to see if Ritalin works better for you. So I don't feel like I manifest anger issues, but what I have noticed though is I have a constant dull depression that's just like a dull depression. Not like I'm fucking devastated and sad, but just a little bit of like a dull depression. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it's kind of like always a little bit there. And Ritalin does help that, I've noticed. And I think somebody flippantly had mentioned on like a podcast or something. I don't remember what it was, but somebody had said how Buzz Aldrin after coming back from the moon, when Buzz Aldrin was allegedly on the moon. So he says he was treated his post-lunar depression, which is actually what they called it, was treated with Ritalin, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know.
Dude, post-lunar depression because you'll never be anywhere cooler. Is that it?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
They treat depression for like they treated housewives with depression in the 50s with like what are they called, greenies or bennies. It was basically it was like early Adderall.
Yeah.
And it was you're stuck at home all day, you have no rights. There's no telephones. I'm watching First for All Mankind on Apple TV. It's about like going to the moon in the 50s, and the women just are stuck at home. They don't have iPads or TV. No. Like there's nothing to do.
Kids, horrible kids.
And the kids, even if they're like, there's kids are like out.
Bread mixer is what they have.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then they have this like old vacuum, and I'm like, what would you do all day if you didn't have shit to watch? Like,
no.
And drugs, so of course you start huffing meth and vacuuming the whole neighborhood. I'm on vacuum the sidewalk.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I'll be out in the front yard vacuuming. Hey,
have you ever vacuumed concrete before? It feels like you're doing something like naughty. I don't
know.
Try it sometime.
You've done that.
Bad.
You sicko. I'm gonna tell the cops on you. Yeah.
There's a guy down the street who won't stop vacuuming his sidewalk. Disgusting.
I mean, that's such a fun, weird LA thing to like vacuum the sidewalk. You'd be like, that feels like a crazy guy up the street kind of.
Definitely. Dude, I definitely hear you on all of your pharmaceutical issues, my friend, because lately I've been having a similar thing. It's like the dull depression thing is so relatable. It's just like, I think partially for me comes from just being on antidepressants for like 10 years. I feel like literally emotionless all the time, like for the most part, like just like numb. And it's like sad because you get to the point where it's like numb is preferable to what you were feeling before. Yeah, so you're just like, whatever.
Have you ever cut yourself?
I don't like the peaks and valleys. The peaks and valleys are pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah,
but the doll thing is an interesting one because
what's doll? I was gonna ask. Do you mean like a doll? Like, did you sit there?
Doll. Yeah,
doll. Like
I don't know that term. Okay, yeah. I don't know if you're talking about I didn't say you're talking about the Indian cuisine dal, DAHL. It's delicious.
Yes.
Because I really like
delicious.
I love Indian food.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
The way that depression is measured is actually through ethnic cuisines. So lasagna depression is tough.
Yeah. You're
very
stuck on the couch. You bet.
Yeah.
Lasagna depression is where I'm at.
That does actually make total sense. And doll feels like, it's a little bit of depression. It's not.
Yeah, but it's like a little bit like more exciting too. Like maybe there's like a little more of an ups and downs than a lasagna.
Yes. So the way I would describe dull depression, and again, I don't know. I mean, this was another interesting epiphany for me. Is like when I was talking to my doctor about changing medicines because I was just my doctor.
Your shaman.
My shaman. He was kind of like the way that you get tested for ADHD and depression, and you basically just like take a survey.
Yeah.
Right. And then you like talk to psychologists, but you can just like take the survey. There's like a small smattering of questions, not even that many questions.
Yep.
So it's always like one of those things where you're just like, is this real, man? But I remember I took it, and I've never considered myself to have ADHD or ADD, but I was just like ripping through the answers that are appropriate, and then in true ADHD form, I guess I like forgot to send it to him. I think about it all the time. Like I still haven't even sent this back to my.
You're doctor. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, and so anyway, so I think that there's a depression one too. I was kind of going through. I've never really considered myself to be a depressive person. I'm not like I've never had suicidal thoughts. I'm not like super, super down in the dumps, can't do anything. But that's why I think the dull depression kind of explains it, where it's like, it's dull in the sense that it's not like it's like I just will like have like I wasn't taking Ritalin the last like 5 days or something like that, and so I was just feeling this like kind of like meh, just meh, well meh. About like everything. So and that was just like, that's kind of the way to describe it. Like I could do things still and I was still functional, but there was just like a little bit of like a malaise or like a
is inherent,
this it? Yeah, exactly. There was like a little bit of a is this it that just kind of sat at
this
the
is
core
my
of it
life.
all, you know?
This is what I do. This is all I do. This is this
shout out Jessica from Indianapolis.
Hey, Jessica.
Indianapolis. Cool. I love Indianapolis.
Indianapolis v. Cleveland. You guys beef pretty hard, I would imagine.
Jessica, get out of here. This is a Cleveland podcast. No,
wait,
I like Indianapolis.
But the Malays.
Indianapolis once.
Hot chicks down there. Right?
Yeah.
The Malays. I think everything you're describing feels like the current situation in like busy, expensive cities in America. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I like the distracting part. Like, you're on Slack. I have 3 different Gmails open at the same time all the time, and they're like 100%. Populating other ones, and and then there's you guys are on Slack. I say no. That's one step too far. Then there's text. Then there's like all the everything's coming in. Then it just so it's. Dude, you are always being distracted, right? And then asked to do impossible groups of work, and so you do start to like your computer is like it kind of glitches out.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody like did the working working expectations of our society create ADHD, or is it the opposite? Possible. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like plus the computers, the phones, the all this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too is I mean, the thing, my dull depression thing too is I'll have that moment where I'll just be like, fuck, this city is killing me. It's just whatever. But then I'll like have a moment where I'll like fantasize about being in the woods where I'm doing, and then I have like another version of depression where I'm just like, well, what would I do? I don't know how I would survive. And then so it's just, that's kind of why it's like, it's the dull depression thing. I think it's just an interesting, it's a strange feeling that I like. And you know, my dad was super depressed. My mom was super depressed. My mom has told me that she's just like, oh, I'm thinking about getting back on my depression meds because she just is like a widow. So I think it runs in my family. Have you tried to one of those things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It's a strange one because I've like when I talk to my therapist, she'll be like, dude, it's a chemical thing. You can't do anything about it. And I'm just like, yeah, but she's just like, no, like it's a chemical thing. I'm just like, well, but so I don't really know. I think I'm just like a reluctant depressant. I just think it's just like how I am. I just think I'm like, and I'm like, I'm very functional too. That's the thing. And I think that's the thing why I take these. You're back on mute, by the way, Doug Boobs, FYI. But that I think is the thing with this like Ritalin, armodafinil, whatever combination that I've always taken is like, it allows me to just be a machine.
Yeah.
Which I like doing. Like I like get a lot of satisfaction out of just like, I go from A to B and then B to C and C to D and then I go to bed and I'm like, whoa, that day was, whew. And then I'm tired and I'm out,
the books.
Right? Yeah. And
killed it today.
Hustle culture, fucking got that bread.
Hey, your network is your net worth. Don't forget that.
Don't fucking forget it. Make the bread, grind the pole, get that bread.
And shrimp those tails. Yeah, get that
bread. Shrimp those tails, you guys.
Dude. Get that bread, grind that pole, and get that. Bread? Yeah. Yeah, and Shia LaDouche, by the way, I mean, Shia LaDouche are number one man, woman, or they on the street. Doll city depression has to be a thing. The world's broke bad. Everything hella fast. Social media sucks. Balls, and I want to check out all the time. All about that retired van life.
Ooh, that's what I want too.
Just don't come to Venice. Sorry, just
guys.
Don't come to Venice.
Don't. We got it.
I want a retired van life too. And you know what?
Right.
You take that van, you gut it. Then you put shit flap in it, and then you paint the whole damn thing white. Okay? You've got a tiny home. Okay?
Yes.
You can put that on HGTV.
That's true.
So it's not a van, it's a tiny home.
I'm actually about to, I completely forgot to bring this up, but I'm actually about to experience something not similar, but similar, where I, in a moment of utter madness, but I think also for a good thing, I decided to book a 32-hour train ride to Seattle. So I'm going to be doing that soon.
Wow.
That sounds like fun.
I'm going to be experimenting with that lifestyle.
Is it one of those like sleepers?
There is. I did upgrade to have a room, so I wasn't like essentially sitting in a coach flight for 32 hours. Which
is it a shared room? Yeah. Are you gonna?
Oh, I would love a roommate. I think that'd be hilarious.
I feel like you have to have. They're just the way they're designed, but I don't know. Like you're gonna get like a man with a monocle in a 3-piece suit. That'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be thrilling.
Hopefully there's a murder on there too. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, if I could be a part of a murder mystery and help solve a murder plot on a train, I'd be thrilled.
I think by the end you take those pills, you'd look at them and you'd throw them out the window. You're like, don't need you anymore. I just solved a murder mystery.
Right. And then I have everything I need to live on, but
that's good. I'm glad you got the sleeper. I'll just say one thing. I once was on a train ride overnight. The person who planned it did not get a sleeper. We were stuck sitting up for like full on 13-hour ride, lights on, and a man on the phone having a Spanish business call the entire time. We were in Spain.
That just sounds like a Cake song.
It was terrible. It was.
I mean, you guys don't know music, so you don't know the band Cake, but that sounds like a
that adds up. Yep.
Okay. Do these details go into the song? I threw up paella and I OD'd on Benadryl.
Those lyrics, yes, those are definitely Cake lyrics. Anyway, all right, so I'm gonna pull Monica Livingston into the feed now. So she's in the green room. So Monica Livingston, I think you're muted, by the way. Just FYI, I see that you're mute button. There we go.
Yay!
What's up? Welcome.
Hey!
Welcome to Did You Reddit? Man, you have like a full, beautiful background and everything.
This is cheap. This is fake grass from Home Depot.
Looks great.
Yeah, and then I went to Michael's and got some chalk paint and some letters. And I spray painted them up there and then let them fall off. And hence, it looks like football field grass.
Dude, it looks great. Better than my crappy room.
This is going to like take all of my energy today to not talk about the NFL draft because I'm like, it's the only thing I've been paying attention to. And it's happening like in basically 12 hours.
Don't do it.
I know. I've become I'm like a devout Browns fan, and like my whole family's from Cleveland, and so I like this is like the last 2 years have been the first time in my life where I like don't feel utter shame and boredom by everything pertinent to the Browns. Yeah, so I've just been like absolutely total like Browns to the dome every day, all the time, and all eclipses today with the NFL draft. So one
of my former teammates is the chief of staff for the Browns, Callie Bronson.
Carrie Brownstein. Oh hell yeah!
Oh wow,
dude, that's
cool.
Amazing. I have a ton of respect for her, man. Like she is because I watched. They have a really really good show called Building the Browns that's like a local. It's on Cleveland, I don't know, something like Cleveland CBS or something. Okay. And it's actually a really, really good like documentary about the process of going into the Browns. And Carrie's like she's like a big character in it. Callie? Callie.
Yeah.
And Callie. And she's like, she's really like she's a powerful person.
Yeah.
Like, she's a very like cool, interesting.
Yeah, she's a good football player too. So
yeah. And she was the first woman coach.
No, we've got a ton. Jen Welter was the first woman with the Arizona Cardinals. Katie Sowers was out in San Francisco, so the first woman to make a Super Bowl appearance. Kelly's staff. Another one someone I played, well, they played with the Divas now, and after I played with them. Jennifer King is the running back coach, one of the assistant running back coaches for the Washington football team. So
amazing.
We're infiltrating. We're coming from different
Dude, it's awesome.
You know,
and then we also have Andrew Barry, who's our GM, who's like a millennial, I think is he the first person of color to be the GM of a football team?
I think right. Yeah.
So we have the Browns are America's team right now, man.
I'm a Browns fan now.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know much about sports, but you guys convinced me in the last 5 minutes.
Perfect. So, all right. So, welcome, Monica. So, Monica Livingston. So, I guess I will do a very, very probably bad introduction of what you do, because I think knowing a little bit about what you do, I think you can explain more. But you're a former football player, a Hall of Famer, actually, right? Hall of Fame running back, I believe.
That's true.
That's true. And then have now gone into be a life coach, a speaker, a just broadly positive person. It's kind of the way I interpret who you are now. Yeah,
that's the goal, right? People want to call it a brand or whatever, but it's really just me just living. That's it.
I love that.
Living and then telling other people how to do that.
Hey, I'm telling you, here's what's working for me. Here's some suggestions. Here's some proven stuff. Some of it, when I start all my talks or workshops or whatever you want to call it, I tell people some of this stuff you're already doing. So congratulations. And sometimes it's good to find out you're on the right path. Some of this stuff I'm going to suggest you're going to be like, that's the corniest thing I've ever heard, and that's not going to work. Okay, I don't know if it'll work for you or not, but I'm still going to give it to you. You might have to tweak it, put your secret sauce on it to make it work for you and your organization or your team or your life. But it's been proven it's worked for some of these people. So go ahead and take a chance, put your secret sauce on it, and see what happens. I mean, there's no downside to positivity.
Right. I love that.
That someone's so positive and you're like, oh, here they come with all this positivity again. I wish they'd get away from me. No, you've never said that. And if you have, you've got bigger problems. I can't help you.
That's so true. I love that you kind of provide this coaching and this guidance in like a variety of places in people's lives too. There's the corporate side where, you're working with companies, the academic side, working with students, athletic, working with athletes. And then it sounds like you also work like one-on-one with people if they want personal, like life coaching.
Yeah, I do. But I'll tell you, it's all the same message. And this happened for me organically. Like I didn't wake up and decide that I was going to, go into corporate America and tell them how to run their structures. Literally what kept happening was I was in my space, in my zone, what I know, which is athletics and how to motivate teams and coaches and get peak performance on and off the field for athletes. And I'm sharing those messages. And time again, what happened was parents would be in that room. This was mandatory for me to attend your workshop in order for my kid to play baseball. I didn't want to be here. I just came so I could get this form signed. But I got a question for you. This stuff that you said, man, we need this at my job. Do you do this for law firms? I'm like,
wow.
Like, and in the beginning I was like, well, not really. And then the question kept happening. People would come and say, my corporation could benefit from some of these same principles. And so then one day somebody said, so do you do this for, and they put it together with this, and money's no object. Do you do this? So I yes. They do what they wanted, right? I was like, I'll figure it out, right? If money's no object, the answer is yes. Now,
listen, I know I'm proposing a hard question for you, but would you do this for a lot of money? Take your time. You're like,
yeah.
I
got to squeeze you guys in. I was like,
I think we can do that.
Then it just started, and then someone told someone, and I thought, okay, well, I'm on to something. To me, it feels super easy. There are days, guys, where I feel like I'm robbing people because I'm like, really? You're a whole grown human being and you need me to come in here and tell you what you should have learned in kindergarten? Be nice to people and share your freaking toys. Like how hard is it?
Totally.
It's so funny you bring that up. I have a 4-year-old. We watch a lot of Sesame Street right now, and I love Sesame Street. It's the greatest show. And I'm watching it again, as an adult. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are just the rules to life. Like all adults should be watching this as well. It's all the simple stuff, but you as an adult, you just like, you forget it, you move away from it. You start just looking to like, you make money and put your head down and you'll do whatever you need to succeed. And you can alienate yourself from people and it can be this downward spiral. But I'm like, Sesame Street, they really nailed it.
It's amazing. I didn't even think about that, but I probably should go to grab some clips. I'm gonna steal that one and Sesame Street and use my next corporate training, because it really is that freaking simple. Like you know,
the themes are universal.
And kids have less issues. If you watch kids on a playground, they don't see color. They don't see who's taller. They don't see who's bigger. They don't see any of that. They want just fair and equitable play, right? The only time when they start fighting, it's my turn on the swing because someone is taking over the swing and it's somebody else's turn. It's the same, right? And then they work it out. And sometimes they need us, but most of the time we just screw it up. If you really just watch kids, one kid will emerge and say, well, go one more time and then I'll go, you know, and then they work it out and then they're running and playing, you know, next. Or they have a little spat. It seems like the end of the world, like it should shut the playground down, but literally 35 seconds, they're best friends.
That's so true. I love that.
Kindergarten.
So I think I have some. I mean, I'm going to try to keep myself from asking huge, lofty questions that are impossible to answer in a half an hour, because I feel like
this isn't your personal therapy session.
What do
Tell
I
me
do
what to do about my dad.
We don't have
but I think so. We do everything. So the podcast is we focus on Reddit things. We kind of like talk around Reddit things, but Reddit is an interesting place because it has everything, right? And every Reddit has a community for every possible thing. And we were looking at this subreddit called Deciding to Be Better, which I think is a really good thing to talk about as we're talking to you, and some of the tricks and the tools that you use to help people be better in a lot of different manifestations. The big question that I was going to ask, so I'm going to pull up Deciding to Be Better, and we're going to start kind of going through some of the posts, and you can kind of talk about some of your methodology for this. But the big question I was going to ask is, what do you think causes that sudden problematic transition from adolescence to kind of the immoral, unethical adulthood that I think we all live? Because again, like, that is a huge question, but I do think there's a lot of insight in the fact that there is a civility built into childhood, I think. Yeah. And we have so many programs that are designed to just tell kids to be nice to other kids, share, do all these things. But then, every adult I know, like we kind of joke around this all the time, but it's just like, rise or grind, get that bag, climb the ladder, you're going to be successful. And I'm just like, what? I don't remember that, And so
what you do is you add competitiveness to childhood and you take away the purity. And the combination of those two gets us adults trying to figure out, how to make it and still be a decent human being. And that's the battle. And so some of it, like what I try to remember and then just tell people is that you can redefine your success and redefine your W, whatever that win is. The win doesn't look the same for everyone. The win for me is that at 11 o'clock on my time, East Coast, in the middle of the day, I get to hang out with you guys and talk. Now, could I have some corporate gig where I'd be in an office looking out some glass window, waiting for lunch, and then, feeding myself really fast, and then driving in traffic at 5:30 to leave to maybe get home? I did, I won't anymore. Right. But that works for me. And there's some people that it works for. So I think you've just got to redefine your win and try to put a little bit of kindergarten back in your life, like constantly. It's just have fun, and be spontaneous. All those things that kids do, they're spontaneous. They keep things moving. That's why we look at it. We go, oh my gosh, they just finished playing with that toy. Now they've got this toy out. Now they've got that toy out. Well, they're moving and grooving, and and their minds are too. We should be doing the same thing. Hang out with you guys. Then I'm going to another meeting to hang out with somebody else, and then I'm gonna go see some friends in person. keep that wheel moving, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the redefining like your wins, because I feel like for such a long time, at least career wise for me too, for such a long time, it's like I had this idea of what success was going to be. You know, it's going to be like, keep getting that raise, keep getting that promotion. And I realized, like, I don't actually really like managing people at this point in my life. So like you get to a level of like a manager position, which is like, quote, success.
Oh yeah.
But then you realize, like, maybe that's not for me. Maybe that's not what makes me happy. Yeah. But that's such a great point. It's not identical for everybody.
No. I'm playing my own game here.
Yeah. I love that.
Question about fear, and I'm sure it's a topic that comes up quite a bit, but I feel like, you know, as I you know, I remember fear coming into my life in high school. Probably I played baseball and football, and like it's a lot of guys like making fun of each other for different things, and all of a sudden you start to put up these little shells and walls because you don't want to be the guy getting made fun of. And I think that's kind of the beginning for maybe like in the puberty range of men. It's like you start to build these fear walls, and that might lead to like the beginning of the end of like childhood, right? And you look at kids and you're like, oh, these kids are not afraid of anything. They're just going for it. They're living. They're talking to people. My 4-year-old just talks to everybody who walks by, and he's super happy. And it seems like fear is this thing that doesn't get spoken about enough, but it always just leads to. It seems like it just leads to negativity and combativeness and like negative competitiveness and strange voices. Yeah,
strange choices. It definitely leads to strange voices. But I mean, I think that's what makes people choose certain career paths, right? I mean, I think that when people
you don't
go,
fail.
Yeah, like I have to climb the corporate ladder, or else I'm going to be this, and then I'm going to be unhappy, or then I'm going to be a failure, or whatever.
Right.
And that I think is a fear equation in my mind.
Yeah, it's a big motivator.
And that's the thing. Like fear is the number one thing, right? That keeps people from starting businesses, doing things that they truly want to do and want to experience, and it's fear. So the thing about fear is you got to hit it like head on. You got to say to yourself, what is the worst possible thing that can happen? And then you have to design a plan to deal with that worst possible thing. So if the worst possible thing is I quit my job, I want to start this business. People always worry, well, if I quit this job, it's a good job, and I start the business fails, you know, but then they leave it. And I go, no, wait a minute, let's finish that. So the business fails, and what? Well, I won't have any money. I won't have a place to live. Okay, hold on. You won't have any place to live? And then when we break it down, it comes that you don't have the place to live you want to live.
Yeah.
But you got a place to live. It might be at your mama's house again. but you have a place to live. It might be on friends' couches, but you have a place to live. So now the fear is, are you super afraid to keep yourself from your passion and goals? And the worst thing that can happen is that you have to sit in your mom's, house. You've been there before. It's your mom's house. Like, so,
is it unfamiliar? Like, you should be at home.
You got to figure out these ways to eliminate the fear. And I think sometimes it's looking at exactly what's the worst possible thing that can happen. And when we look at the worst possible thing and we plan for it, then the fear kind of dissipates some.
The worst possible thing is a meteor is going to come and just wipe us all off the planet.
Right. And then who cares, right?
So who cares? Yeah.
I've tried. Duh.
Yeah, go for it.
That is kind of, the worst possible fear, I guess, is death. I mean, I guess if you want to look at it that way, but like, I don't know, like I think when I think about my issue with anything and how I work, because sometimes I do exactly what you just did, where I like go from like here to here to here to here all the way down. I'm like, well, being dead, I guess, is where it ends. I'm just like, well, I don't know what to do with that. I mean, that's so. But all right, so I think in terms of the subreddit, because I know that we don't have a ton of time with you. I know we want to keep respect your time, but so the subreddit is very interesting because I think Deciding to Be Better is certainly a support group that is from what I gather, it is people tell.
Oh, you went on mute.
What the? Still on mute.
Still on mute, my friend. Oh, you're back.
All right.
I think I hit a button or something. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yep.
Okay. So I think with Deciding to Be Better, I think there's
it's a support for people who are trying to stop whatever is causing them an issue or fix whatever is becoming an issue. And right. I've noticed a lot of these are addiction oriented. However, they're interesting addictions. The one I pulled up right now is actually, and I think this speaks to a little bit of like what your W is, where this person, after countless years of chugging numerous Cokes a day, I finally quit my addiction to Coca-Cola. Right.
I love that.
A lot of people would be like, oh, that's not like, you like Coke. That's fine. Right. Person's like, no, I want to do this. I haven't been able to. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing to me. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be the first win in a series of bigger wins.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It like represents something.
Right. Because it speaks to the lack of self-control, I think, is what whoever wrote it is afraid of. They're not afraid of the Coke. They're afraid of, like, if I can't say no to Coke,
right?
Coke, let's just make that very clear here, people. Right?
Yeah.
Soda, right? Then what else will I not be able to say no that can be even more harmful for me?
Yeah.
So I get their concern. I get it.
Yeah. If soda has power over you, I'm sure you're not, powerful over other things throughout your life. I mean, maybe not, but I guess that's the fear is you're being controlled and you want to have control over it.
Yeah.
So it's a big step.
Yeah. And it's indicative of like, kind of like your life. Like if a lot of things feel out of control, at least for me, kind of taking one thing that I know I can change and manage helps me like chip away at what feels so unmanageable.
Yeah.
I like, and just writing it down sometimes, like,
oh yeah,
even like in college, my Coca-Cola was Chipotle burritos like 4 times a week. And I had a friend tell me that she was worried about my heart. Like I was 21 years old.
Wow.
Very embarrassing, you guys. But I would house those things in like under 5 minutes. It was crazy. But it was one of those things.
It's lunchtime.
It doesn't sound good. No salsa, that's the trick. You just gotta get it. No salsa. But it was like one of those things where I'm like, this is kind of a symptom of other things where I'm just not putting any thought or care into what I'm like putting in my body. And it's like, if you can start chipping away at something little like that, I see how it can affect your life in a bigger way, or like lead you to better overall like habits just from, taking out the Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monica, but do you have like a pocket guide to, like the easy 1, 2, 3 step, like walk away tip or something? Because obviously you have a whole, day's worth of information that you talk to people about. So I'm not trying to just boil it down into
I got you.
Business card, but like, as we, because we know you have to run in 10 minutes or something.
Okay,
so,
go ahead. I'm trying to time for you guys.
People are struggling to find positivity in their lives. Like, are there things you do that just remind you, like on an hour-to-hour basis, like something you say to yourself, or?
Yeah. So the first thing is to show gratitude, right? Like express that gratitude and do it. Have an accountability partner out loud, like, write it in your phone or make a video and post it to say what you are grateful for. A couple things happen when you do that. And I do this a lot with teams. One, it makes you think about what you're grateful for instead of what's bothering you, right? Because that's the first thing we go, oh man. Okay, so let me absolutely pause my thinking right now, take a hold of it, go into my growth mindset mentality. What am I thankful for? What is it? It could be very simple. So I immediately, boom, I'm switching my mind immediately from the negative to the positive. Then I'm going to tell somebody else. And then what that person is going to do is they will probably share back. And so now I'm getting this feeling now of being out of this rut. And now I'm in this grateful land. That person is also a teammate. I'm real big on whether you play on a team or not, you're on one. And you got to have good people around you. So the first thing would do to be grateful. The second thing is I take some kind of action, a move from whatever is going on, like immediately. I don't, this doesn't always work, but I'll think about whatever is what I'm fearful about or whatever the issue is. I'm going to do something. I'm going to send an email, call somebody, stand up, run, sit down. If I'm already standing up, I'm going to move something and change the situation immediately. And then see how that shakes it up a little bit and then reevaluate.
That's awesome. I'm literally writing this down.
We brought you on to not pay you for your services.
No.
Better program.
Let me tell you one other one before I forget. The other thing to do when you were talking about just getting back in order, or somebody said, something about order. The easiest way to do that is to clean out your car and put your clothes away. It changes your whole freaking rest of your day in your outlook. If you've got a car, just straighten up your car. And I go outside sometimes, and it's just good to be out there and think differently. And I always say my car is kind of a representation, not so much now since COVID, because I used to travel a lot more and I was in it more, but it was a representation of what was going on, right? Yeah. So if there was fast food, stuff in there, I know I'm not eating right. And so cleaning the car is kind of a way of purging that. And then it follows you back into the house, and it's a way it kind of purges your mind and your computer. It's a nice little reset. Same thing with hanging clothes up.
It's so true.
Yeah. That is huge. I literally see that in my environment. Like when my mental health starts to fail, I look around and I'm like, I wonder why. Like,
exactly.
Everything's chaos right now, and it's disgusting.
Especially now when most are home, right? We gotta get this area like orderly, because it's a reflection of our mind.
That's so huge. That's such a great tip.
Think, the way you said something interesting that I think is probably important too, which is sometimes it doesn't work, right? About that process, which I think sometimes is something we forget, or at least I do, where you kind of go, all right, cool, we got our checklist. So like, do this. And then you're just like, what? This isn't, I feel the same. And then that's not a reason to not do it. Cause it's not like the total math, right? It's not a perfect formula. Sometimes something works, sometimes something doesn't, but it's like the active pursuit of that thing makes a big difference.
Consistency, right? We're totally. Like if we're talking stats, right? Every time I shoot a basket, I'm not going to make it. But the more I shoot, the more, opportunity I have to make it. And so you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And sometimes you're going to get the success just because it's so repetitive and because you're so consistent. Like there are days when I've taken a shot in basketball and be like, I can't believe that went in. Like, and everybody else is like, ooh, she, bottom of the nets again. And I'm thinking, you have no idea. It felt wrong when it left my hand, right? But it went through, and they attribute it to the other 5 that I just made before that. And I'm thinking that one right there was janky at best. But I probably got it because of the repetitiveness and just, man, you just got to remember mistakes and setbacks are they're temporary and they're changeable, right? They don't define us. And so you just keep it moving, keep it grooving.
Yeah. Failure, I would imagine, is a huge part of what you talk about with people. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. I fail so much in my career. Like it's part of my career that at this point, I don't even consider it anymore. I pitch and sell television shows. You have to do it. I get rejected all the time. Most of the time I'm in a place of rejection. And I've done it so much where I'm like, I don't care anymore. I have like learned to not let it affect me, but it's taken me a long time to figure that out because and it's like a repetition thing. It's like,
let me ask you a question about that though. Do you have little conversations with yourself, like after you get like a hard no? Do you keep like, how do you bounce back from that no?
I try to move on from the no very quickly, and I don't think I tell myself that I prepared as much as I needed to prepare typically, or at least I think I did. Right. And I think I've done my part of the equation. A lot of times it's not a good match. It's not a good fit for what they're looking for some reason. So I just sort of chalk it up to that. And then I just don't dwell on it is one thing. I'm on to the next thing, like within seconds.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Let me give you bad advice. So what I used to do long time ago, I was in newspaper sales for a while, selling advertisement for newspaper sales.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've been in sales loosely because I also do a lot of the sponsorship deals for women's football and currently with the WNFC, the Women's National Football Conference. So I'm the chief revenue officer. So I'm in these deals, you know, for sponsorship deals for the league with Adidas and Bose and all these other deals. And we kick off this weekend. And what I sometimes do is I continue the conversation after it's over with. I just pretend like I'm still talking to him and I get to say whatever I really wanted to say.
I love it.
And I'm like, well, that's the dumbest mistake that you're going to make, because when we blow up, you know, you're going to be sorry.
You're going to be bummed you didn't get in on this.
Still talking to him. I'm like this, man, but I already knew before I met with you that you were shady anyway. So I just keep the conversation going and then hang up.
Yeah, I mean, making them wrong essentially is I would say a tactic. Which protects you from being wrong.
Yeah. So this is actually a question. I know we have very, very limited time with you left. So I'm gonna get one question in from our stream right now.
Righty.
From one of our frequent listeners, Shia. So for you, how do you deal with self-doubt at the moment when you can't escape it and have to perform regardless in front of others?
Woo, that's imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Those things can be wicked. You've got to have, this is why it's so important. Sometimes it's not about what we do in the moment. It's the steps ahead of time. I have a team of people. You've got to be rocking with a team, because you're going to have your bad days. So there are days when I'm literally like the question, I don't know why these people even called me. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I got a group tomorrow that wants me to show up, and they basically ordered me, like my energy, but they didn't tell me exactly what they want. Right. And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, I got an hour. Boy, I hope I don't bomb. My team has said, that's impossible. You never do. Are you kidding me? Why don't we do a little bit of this, a little bit of that? And then that gets me thinking, I go, oh yeah. Oh, and I forgot, I can talk to them about, and now I'm back. But without that team, I'd have been stuck. So the answer is just that patent answer of like, you just go for it. You just push through, you dust yourself off, and you just keep going. Get a team first so you don't have to do that. And then remember, the other one is if you don't have a team yet, so like the immediate answer for his question is remember your why. Why are you doing it in the first place? Why is this important? Focus on that. Write your why down if you have to. Fold it up, put it in your pocket, carry it around with you. And then when it's time to, keep pushing or whatever your presentation is, put your hand in your pocket and feel that why and let that give you some power. But I can't stress enough. The first one is to get a team. So when those moments do creep up, you know what to do with them.
Yeah. And I think team, I think that you can use the word team liberally as well, where I think that just having a couple people that it doesn't have to be a hired gun. It can be your mom. It can be your friend. It can be there's a lot of because I agree with that. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for like 5 years or whatever now. We're like 187 episodes or something, and so there are absolutely moments where one of us or a couple of us are just like, man, I can't bring it today. I'm out of it. You know what I mean? And then having the other person kind of do a little bit of the heavy lifting, or like, we've created a good system recently where we've just been like kind of sharing the load, and it does require a like team is just such an interesting thing, because I think that I grew up playing a lot of sports as well, and I don't think I really realized how valuable the act of playing sports and understanding teamwork was until I became an adult, and I truly feel like the camaraderie with people that I have a shared mission with.
Yeah,
and
that's one of those lessons that translates over, right? Like that whole team. I mean, when we think about that corny acronym, team, together everyone achieves more. But it's right. I mean, you guys are getting more out of it because of how you guys are now working. So it's also it's true.
Yeah, it's so true. Like I think about like just the team dynamics when you're a kid, you learn how to motivate others. You learn how to accept motivation from others when you're lacking it. And it's like, it's in a position where it's like your team isn't going to let you fail because you're a team. So it's like,
It's crazy. I was literally reading an article not too long ago that talked about Fortune 500 companies, how they have lowered their training dollars and their retention is higher because in interviews, they started, and when they were asking a potential employer, one of the questions that they added to that list of questions was, if you played youth sports, and if so, for how long? They didn't ask them if they were a superstar, if they had a personal record, how many championships they won. They didn't care anything about that. They wanted to know if they played youth sports, and if so, for how long. And what they found out was when they hired sports-minded individuals, they knew those life lessons that we're talking about. They knew how to work together as a unit. Well, who doesn't want that in an employee? They weren't the ones that call out sick all the time. Why? Because athletes, even when we're injured, we still go to practice. You show up on crutches to cheer on your team. So they weren't calling out of work. They knew how to deal with authority. We know assistant coach, head coach, officials are in charge. How to deal with adversity. Something bad happens. What do? We pick ourselves up. We go for the next play. Go back to the next game. We go back to practice to work harder. So all these things that translate from sports, they said, man, we just got to find a bunch of athletes or like-minded individuals to hire. And then the whole group narrative gets checked off, whatever that group is. And they started crushing it because of the mindset is really what it is. So
that's crazy. It's like taking 6 questions and distilling it down into one question that gives you the answer to a lot of different questions.
Right. Yeah.
So Monica, I'm going to let you, I want to respect your time. I know you have to go. So really quickly before you leave though, where could people find you? Let's talk a little bit about your podcast. I want people to subscribe and pay attention on your various endeavors.
Yeah, thank you. So most everything is on my website, www.monicadlivingston.com. The podcast is called The Huddle with Monica D. Livingston, and you can get it Apple, Spotify, of course, the Believe Podcast Network. Anywhere you can get podcasts, though, you can find that. My Instagram is Livingston3636. Twitter is Livingston3636. Facebook is Monica D. Livingston. And I'm not scared of people. I love people. You can call me. 703. Okay, call me.
Here's my number.
Yeah, that's a real number. So I love dialoguing with people, and I think that anytime you can do that, you move the needle forward. So yeah, I'm happy.
And where can people catch the NFC and the National
WNFC?
WNFC. Where can people catch the WNFC?
So everybody should download the Vire Network app. Okay, in the App Store, you download the Vire Network app. It's like Hulu and Netflix, original content, free streaming on Apple. What's the other one called? The Fire Stick, all of Roku, all of those. And so you can watch all of the WNFC games there. And they'll be streamed in 116 countries. And we have 20 teams taking the field this season.
Damn.
Sweet. Amazing.
That's fantastic.
Love it. Okay, well,
NFC on WNFC football on Instagram as well.
Cool.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Dude, thank you for coming here and enriching our lives. And giving us some
I tend to be
tips.
A little cynical about things. I'm not like a cynical person, but I'm feeling ready to go right now. I actually do feel the energy. It's great. I love it.
It's the morning for you guys, so I got you guys right through. Yeah.
Perfect.
My day is going like this because I'm going to go get that burrito. I need a nap.
Oh God, enjoy.
But good luck for the rest of y'all's day. All right.
Thanks, Monica.
You're awesome.
Yeah. All right. Stay safe.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Oh, sweet.
Dude, really? I do feel more motivated. I feel like my biggest takeaway from Monica is the do something immediately, like make an action.
Yeah,
when I'm anxious about something or putting something off, it's make the doctor's appointment. Like if you've been saying you have to go to the doctor for 6 months, just call and make the appointment. You don't have to go for another 2 weeks, but at least you called and made the appointment.
Dude,
That's
I get
advice.
So paralyzed with shit like that, and I think it's it's so funny because it is the little things again where it's And I go through moments where I mean, it's a fucking problem. I need to fix it. But like, it really is like, I will straight up be like, I just have to send this one email.
Yeah.
Just one email. And I'll just be like, oh, but how do I send this email?
I do that all the time. And it's the dumbest.
It's so stupid.
What should I? And then you're like, I'll just forget about it right this second until later.
Yeah.
I want Monica to come in my bedroom every morning.
And be like, get the hell up, man.
But kick the door off the hinges first. That's like step one. And be like, let's go. And you're like, all right, Monica, I'm getting up.
Hell yeah. It could be like second vaccine night and you'd still be like, fuck yeah, I got to get up. I got to do this.
My plans for after this podcast were to get back in bed and like rest because I feel like I can use that excuse today.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna anymore.
You're going to run a marathon, dude.
Damn.
And that's how Dom died. His body exploded.
That was the last time we saw him.
Had nothing to do with the vaccine. His heart just blew out of his chest.
He listened to an inspirational speaker in the morning, and then he tried to go hike the Grand Canyon and passed out. And
he got his heart rate up just
somewhere.
I mean that is a real thing. Like listening to a great motivational speaker. Who's the guy on Joe Rogan? That's the former Navy SEAL guy who always comes on. But
Steve Navy.
Whatever. And you're always like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go run a marathon, and your body's just not ready for it.
Oh my God.
All my ACLs are broken.
We've talked about how I'm the slowest person on cross country team in high school.
Well, didn't you smoke weed while you were jogging across country?
This was before my weed days. So I was clean living.
Goggins.
Okay?
That's right.
Goggins.
Thanks, Shia Douche. He's always calling everybody a bitch. It's the best. You're a bitch. But to himself, it's just go online after this and type his name in on YouTube and watch a pump-up speech, and you'll like think you can run a marathon, even though your body's.
That's the thing. I remember like a technique I tried one time to get myself to go fast was like pretend you're being chased by a serial killer or something. Like just flat out run as fast as you can, pretend your life depends on it. And I'll just tell you, it doesn't work if your body's not there. So that's my
also you're like, I don't know, it'd be kind of nice to get hit by a serial killer actually.
Yeah.
I'm like
while I'm doing it, I get hit by a city bus and get like a huge lawsuit settlement. I'm like, this worked out better than I thought.
Coaches always said growing up, I remember this line, you can't teach speed. That was like one of their coach lines. Some kids were just fucking fast and like it's built in, and some kids were slow. And so, maybe you should be a coach. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe those, and you know what? I was going to say those who can't run coach, but that's not true because my running coaches were the ones that were like literally bringing up the back, like, come on.
I think the phrase is actually those who can't run watch. I think is actually what it should be.
That's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But
anyway, I really liked her. I think she, what's interesting too about someone like that is like, it really goes to show what charisma actually is. You know what I mean? Because it's such a big deal. It's one thing for someone to tell you the things that she just said, but it's a whole different thing to hear it from her. You know what I mean? Like she just has an energy about her mannerisms, her personality, and all of a sudden you're just like, I like this person.
Yeah,
it's infectious. You want to be that, and
it's like very sportsy.
It is.
Like when you that's like so when you see like the title of her podcast, The Huddle. Like when you see huddles and you have that coach that's like, like gearing you up for the next play, and like. That's what you need to be a coach in general. Like, just you got to be able to get the people going. If
you haven't watched The Last Chance U on Netflix, they have like this year's basketball one. It takes place at this little college in East LA. We live in LA. I've never heard of any of these places. I'm like, where's that? And the coach is so fucking like motivational and has so much goddamn charisma, and he gets paid like $1 a year, and he's just like energy, and you're like, how are you doing this, man? Like, I'm watching it going like some rich person needs to just like fund his whole thing because he's like saving these kids' lives. You're like, yes, like this is who should be doing everything, or like guys like this. It's a great show,
dude. That's incredible.
And not feel as bad about your lot in life because these kids have it shitty.
Yeah,
it's a great show. It pumps me up.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean it is really interesting. I mean it's definitely I love Yeah, I like positive. I'm like a fucking goth guy. You know what I mean? Like I like the sinister.
Yeah.
Cut your hair, bro. Cut your hair. Come
like,
over.
I think it's always, I have the same thing about sun, right? Like every time I'm in the sun, because I have vitiligo, so I like burn really fast, and it's just like sun is actually not great for me.
Did not know.
Yeah, I've got vitiligo. You can see it on my face if you like look close.
Did the vitiligo cause the goth, or did the goth
great question
turn into vitiligo?
Never figured that
age
out.
Old question.
It's an age old question.
It's a bumper sticker for a reason. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But every time I like go out in the sun, or I'm like working in the sun, I'm always like, this is pretty fucking nice, actually, man. Like people should do this more. And people are just like, yeah, it's the sun.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, it's the beach, dude. Yeah, it's great. What you're not.
And I think it's the same
beach. It's awesome.
Everybody should be down here. But it's similar with people like Monica, where I'm just kind of like, I think sometimes it's easy, and this is kind of going from the childhood to adulthood thing a little bit again, where you're just kind of like, whatever, it's probably a fucking lie, right?
Yeah.
That's like, we're built to feel that way, I think. And then you hear her talk, and you're just like, I believe this. This is fucking sick. I know that this is the way it should be, And so I think, I mean, I kind of hinted at it, where it's like, it's way too big of a question to be able to answer from somebody like that. But even, going back to the sub a little bit, it's like deciding to be better. I think so many things, like what makes us start to be that way and feel that way and all this. And I think there's one side of it, which is like an interesting existential thing, which is like, life is pain. I think is always people say it as kind of a joke and like this kind of Nietzschean thing, but it's also kind of true, which is like part of the adult experience is overcoming things. You always have to overcome shit, right? And it doesn't really matter what you're doing, because everybody goes through that. I think when you're a kid, you don't really overcome stuff because your parents are just trying to get you on the road, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just trying to brush those teeth, man.
Just trying to get that shit going. But like, when you become an adult and it's kind of like, all right, then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, I got audited. Oh man, like I'm getting a divorce. Oh man, whatever. And like, there's always something that you have to figure out how to get over, which is like in a good way, life is pain. Because if you're willing to accept that, then you always know that you have to you're like constantly trying to get over things, which is kind of the living experience. But the other hint of it too is that, I didn't want to say this because this is like deeply commie shit, but like capitalism causes a lot of this fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like we just go, hey, I gotta get that bag, because if I don't, somebody else will, and then I'm gonna be broke and homeless and a failure, right?
Yes, and that mentality I think is coming from a fear place versus a choice, right? You're choosing to get that bag of cash based on, if you don't get it, somebody else will get it. Versus I'm gonna overcome this, this struggle because I'm choosing to be kick ass at overcoming the struggle right now. And so it's almost like it's the same outcome possibly, but your mentality is shifted from a fear mentality to a control mentality. And like I do it all the time. Like my initial reaction is cynicism, probably. Then I have to like be like, what am I cynical about? Well, probably about like, I'm afraid of people like making fun of me or laughing at me or doing something that outside of my comfort zone. Then it's like, well, then you got to go like, well, fuck everybody. You got to like have that thing. It's like, who gives a shit? And then it's like, okay, now we're at the place where I can start. And it's
exactly. I love that. Dude.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean,
better myself.
Yeah, well, good. I mean,
hey, well, to be better. I wish we could pan down and see a Chipotle burrito in front of you.
Like morning burrito. Oops.
I mean, I feel like my new catchphrase, because I've been seeing it on Instagram and just like on the internet a lot, is like your net worth is your network is your net worth, because it's just such a fucking stupid like Dan Blazarian term. But like that's our new thing, is like, dog boobs, remember, your net worth is your next worth. Your neck worth.
Your neck width is your net worth.
That's right.
Your neck width is your net worth.
Yep.
Don't forget it. But I mean, I think in terms of the for not forgetting that we are an audio medium. So going back to the subreddit a little bit. So this subreddit, by the way, is really what this subreddit is. It's a little bit like Stop Drinking in a way. And the reason we brought this subreddit up is because we knew we were talking to Monica. We wanted to briefly talk a little bit about something that could circle this subreddit. But really what this subreddit is stories of people choosing to be better and then people encouraging them on their way. It's not overcomplicated. It's not like you're going to have a grand revelation, but I think similar to the stop drinking thing with Travis, I love that we're on this like posse kick right now. We're going to have to do like not Nazis against everybody next week or something. Something that's like pure negativity and just like
all negativity.
Yeah, all negativity. But you know, like I think with stop drinking, it's like some of them are stories. I don't think we need to regale their stories to know what the subreddit's all about. I think it's similar to deciding to be better, where it's like
it's very much people, community.
It's a community of people who are like, you know, I'm quitting cocaine. Like I found out why I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. Like somebody being like, I'm going to figure out how to be better, right? Like, you know,
it's like a built-in accountability partner. Like
built-in accountability partner. Right?
Monica said, like, if you don't have a person you're comfortable with in your real life to like go to and be like, I want to quit drinking. I want to quit.
You can't tell your boss you're going to quit cocaine.
That's right. Like... And have them be like, fuck yeah, buddy. Like, I believe in you. It's like, we got to talk to HR. But I think like that's a huge thing. I found this post on deciding to be better that, like you said, there are a lot of personal stories and a lot of them are really interesting. And like the point of putting those personal stories up is people looking for that accountability partner, that accountability from the community, the well wishes, like the encouragement, like the stuff you maybe aren't getting from, I don't know, elsewhere in your life, or you're afraid to be open about what you're trying to do, so you're not getting it. But this is a post that is tagged advice. So there are some that are tagged advice in here that you can go to that aren't personal stories, but actually just post from somebody that gives you some, you know, good advice on how to be better. So this one is how to stop being a slave to your own desires. Use these 5 laws to finally see how your desires fuck you over.
Cool.
Thank you, user Sviatini. So let's go down to the list. There are mainly 5 ways in which unnatural desires give us empty promises. Unnatural desires, I'm going to just say could mean anything right now because I didn't read the beginning. Maybe he's talking about bestiality. Probably not, though. Oh. Could be gap card, gap debt stuff. So I'm going to read it. Yeah. Number 1, we're never satisfied with what we have and we always want more. That's true. The Stoics observe that getting what we want never feels as good as we imagined. It's like the grass is always greener thing. And that is like an online shopping pitfall.
Totally.
You look around like your room and you're like, you've got everything you fucking need. You don't need $150 worth of candles. Aaron, you don't have money now. Yeah. Like you have to go return them, and now it's going to take 5 days to get that money back. You know
what I've recently been doing with like that exact example? It's like, yeah, Instagram is getting us with those. They know exactly now what we will buy. Yeah, they've dialed it in, and I'm kind of going like, oh, what else could I do with this $100? Could I just like put it in some boring ass like trading account?
Right.
And then let it grow over there. And I feel like you'd feel better.
You would.
Than getting the candles.
Yes.
Because I've got the candles and they're fine. Okay. Yeah. I love cedarwood just as much as the next guy.
Right.
But that too is one of the scents I love.
Stick it over there. I think you'll feel more sense of comfort and pride in your choice, which could have a positive spiral effect.
Yeah, you're so right. And like, it even underscores this more because I had my candles sent to my mom's address so they didn't get stolen. So I haven't even been able to burn those candles yet. They're just sitting there.
This feels like the beginning of a Larry David where like your mom like lights one of them to test it.
I'm at the point now where I'm like, I could use that money. Mom, do you want to buy one of those candles off of me?
Trying to upsell the candles.
Hey, think about it. I can't have my mom go to Nordstrom and return them for me. That would be rude of me.
I made a big mistake. I bought candles I couldn't afford.
Can't afford these candles.
You should go sell them at a gas station. Just be like, hey, hey, you want to buy these candles?
Well, my goal is to burn them once and then to take gas station candles, melt them on the stove, and pour them into the expensive candle holder. So it's like I have a permanent one all the time.
Perfect.
I like
Anyway, number 2, we most desire what we do not or cannot have by some perverse force within us. The more distant and unattainable the object is, the greater is our desire to have it. That happened to me last night. I saw literally a cube, like a marble cube Let me show you guys what it looks like. It's a it's a $1,300 marble cube.
What the I don't get it.
And it's like I really want to use it as a nightstand.
Oh, you want to use it
like
as a marble cube? Just let it be a marble cube, man.
Like, can't I? Like, this is unattainable for me.
Whoa, it's Danish.
That's a Danish cube. And I was literally like, it's like midnight and I'm scrolling on my phone and I'm like, yeah, I could save up for 3 months or so and maybe 4 and possibly get this marble plinth. And then I'm like, Aaron, what is wrong with you?
It's 6 months rent.
That is 6 months rent.
That thing makes me nervous because it looks like the kind of thing you trip and fall and bust your whole face on the corner and die. Because it's like so hard.
Celebrities dying on shit like that.
Yes, I watch so much true crime. It's literally like I literally tapped Erin on the shoulder and she slipped and fell against the plinth.
That thing is begging for blood splatter. Yeah.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. So that's a perfect example of number 2.
Don't
number
get that
3.
plinth.
Pursuit of a thing is more pleasing than actually possessing it. That is so fucking true.
That's
Looking at that marble plinth on a clean white Scandinavian design page versus in my shitty room in Palms, it's totally different. Okay,
you know
it's
what?
not even the same thing.
I want you to Photoshop a half-eaten Chipotle burrito on top of that plinth. And then be like, this is what it's going to look like at my house. And you'll be like, I don't need it as much.
A half-eaten Chipotle burrito and 2 dirty orange earplugs with like earwax on them. All right, that's number 3.
Beautiful plinth, though, quite frankly.
Beautiful plinth. Possession of a thing and familiarity with it tend to produce indifference or disgust. By nature, we humans are not as easily contented with our circumstances. So by nature, the moment we possess something, we drift towards something new. We can imagine we have it better. Grass is always greener. And then number 5, the 5th law is we mismeasure the value of what we have or don't have by comparing it to our expectations or others' possessions. Instagram versus reality. You know, this has been like one of the biggest things that's difficult with social media. I think these are helpful 5 laws to like keep in mind
100%.
when Erin is looking at her bank account.
I mean, I've been having a huge problem with this recently, actually. Like I feel like during quarantine, I like really let myself go financially. Like I'm not like I'm like still saving cash. I have like an investment account. I'm like trying, you know, like I'm by all means I am fine. But I'm kind of like, dude, what? How are you spending all this money every month? And I just have acquired such random fucking bullshit like subscription accounts and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I don't remember being as susceptible to the like, man, I'll just get it. You know?
Me too.
And I think it's
susceptibility has changed.
Well, the susceptibility, but I think it has a lot to do with the quarantine and the fact that because we are kind of in our like it almost feels in a way that the act of e-commerce allows for us to kind of simulate the idea of a world beyond our own, right?
Yeah.
That then allows for us to like disengage a little bit from this quarantine lifestyle, right?
Totally.
And I just find that I'm like very susceptible to it, and so
it's like we are suddenly in a prison cell, and like we want to decorate our prison cell.
Kind of, in a way, like it kind of feels like that, and so yeah, I've been doing the same shit. I've been like, I buy bizarre stuff, or I like will find myself being like, $50, whatever, it's $50, and then like 3 hours later, could be like, I mean, I just spent $50, I can definitely spend $50 again. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I look at my bank account later, I'm just like, dude, I spent $600 of $50 this month. Like, what the fuck was I thinking, right? And it just is like that's what happens, man. It's very weird. It's a very strange thing that I like am trying to figure out how to curb. And I think part of it is, you know, part of it's self-control like anything else, but I think it's also I find that like logic doesn't necessarily fix it. Like if I just go, oh, you got to do this, because the other side of this, I mean, this is actually something I didn't ask Monica, but I think is pertinent to a lot of this, which is a valuable perspective, which is like, there is a limit to how much the stress that you are creating in yourself to be better is taking away from your act of being better, right? If you're just like, I'm going to kick Coca-Cola, fuck Coca-Cola, and then you're so stressed about your inability to do it, and you're like, I'm a failure, I can't do this. Part of me is just like, dog, if you like it, just like it. Don't let yourself like
don't fight it too hard.
Yeah, if the act of fighting is making you hate your own existence, like, let's fucking pull it back a little bit, because there is an interesting balance there, right? Because I do know, you know, there is a like yeah, I mean, there's just an interesting limit to what happens. Yeah, I mean, I think about this is like an opportunity cost thing, right? It's like a checks and balance opportunity thing, where like, if you really want to do something, and then you're like, I really want to do it, and you're like doing it, and then you're just like slaving away, and you're like working too late, and you can't get it done, and whatever. I'm kind of like, is that helping you or is that hurting you?
Yeah,
right? You know, and I don't know the balance.
I wonder if that ties back to that redefining your win too, because maybe in your head you're like, my win is to succeed at this with, you know, no stumbles or something, and like, maybe just redefining it as like, this doesn't come easy to me, and maybe my win is like just finishing it, or maybe my win is recognizing like something I keep going back to in my life is just recognizing, like, at least at the stage of my life, I don't want to manage people. Like, you're at an age and like a point in your career when you're in just like corporate world where that's kind of like your next step. You just automatically get promoted into more of a leadership position, and it's like, okay, now these people answer to you, and it's like, oh, I don't like that at all. At all. And so like redefining that and being like, yeah, like maybe part of it is a win. Like, you know, you get more money for those kinds of jobs, but if it's making you miserable, it's not a win.
No. Yeah. And I think it's really hard for some people sometimes to, like, I've been kind of mentally preparing a little bit for when I have to take a paycheck or a pay cut in my career to do a thing that I think is really interesting, you know? Like, I don't want to take a pay cut to just like do the same job I'm doing necessarily, but like, if someone were to be like, hey, this thing that's like, we have a new project, it's really complicated, nobody can really figure it out, you're not going to get paid that much, but you are the person to figure it out, I'd be like, cool. Because I don't want to be the kind of person who's just like, I gotta up my salary by 20% or I'm not taking it, right?
Yeah.
Because I just feel like that again defeats the purpose of any of this stuff, which is like, there is always a balance where, like, if you get paid an asinine amount of money and you're not doing something you like, okay, maybe that's okay, right?
Yeah.
That meteor's coming, man. A meteor's coming.
That meteor's coming. I mean, the proverbial meteor, though, is death, right? Like, we are all technically struck by a meteor.
Ben Affleck is coming on a meteor to fuck us all.
Right.
Lucky us.
And, you know, and
I live alone. Is that the song? I think.
I don't want to close my eyes. That's the one.
Sorry, we're good singers. Yeah.
So this is a good comment from. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no. Yep. Shia LaDouche.
I was gonna say Shia LaDouche. Good comment. Not being able to afford rent helps with cutting down extraneous expenses. I cut it all out during lockdown last year. Ended up painting fences and gardening for cash when I couldn't work traditionally. Not really looked back, to be honest. Sorted my finances and now don't have that money stress I used to. Turned out to be a big win for me. Hashtag deciding to be better. That's huge. Shia
LaDouche rules.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
Shia LaDouche.
It's true. When you like are, it becomes like a survival thing. Like, you're right. Like, it's like, man, it's getting to be a survival thing for old.
Do you ever? What I was going to say is, like, you know, we've been this person too, but we have friends too. It's like, you go to someone's house, they're like, hey, check this out. Check us out. Check us out. Over here. And you go and you're like, they're like, see that? That's a hot tub. Got that. I bought that. I got that. Costco.
I got that with my bread.
Or whatever the hot tub is. Right?
Totally.
And you could see, like, they thought this was going to be the thing that, like, made everybody go, like, you're the man.
You're the one.
But it doesn't mean anything to you because, like, you didn't work for it. So you're just like, cool, sick. You got a hot tub. And it's like,
cool.
That's right. nobody gives a fuck about what I'm getting. Like if we came to your house, Dog Boobs, and you had that synth, what is it called?
A plinth.
A plinth.
No one would give a flying rat's ass about it.
You'd be like, hey,
You guys
check that out.
This marble cube in my room.
Yeah.
We'd
you guys have no idea how many nudes I sold to get this plinth.
So many
you only
foot
knew.
pictures.
So, it's kind of, things are not as meaningful. Like if it doesn't make, I don't know. I don't know what the point of that is, but you probably work yourself up to think things are valuable in your own head. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's two really interesting sides of that, right? Like one side of it is things are not as valuable as you think, right? Which is, it could be anything. It could be we always talk about Miatas, right? As like this flex, right?
Well, there's a loophole for that. Yeah.
There's a loophole for that. But the other side of it though, I do think is like, if you wanted a hot tub and you had never been able to afford one and you finally got to the point in your life where you could get the hot tub you wanted, good for you. You know what I mean? Like I'm also into that, right? Because I think that's a powerful gesture, right? Of like being able to say, like, I worked really hard to do I mean, I've experienced this personally myself, where it's like I got a Traeger grill this summer, and I like love fucking making barbecue shit now.
Have us over. We should
I would love to. Yeah,
barbecue
pod. Barbecue. But
barbecue
it became
pod.
a thing. It became a thing where I was like, I have never owned a barbecue. It's never been a thing. It's never been a thing where I've been like, I want to get it, but there's been a really interesting mentality for me where I've never been able to figure out how to buy something that's nice and commit to the fact that it's a nice thing that I own. Like I feel like growing up, I didn't grow up poor, but I grew up, my parents were I didn't grow up, well, I might have grown up poor. I actually don't know. My parents did well, but my mom was a music teacher and my dad was a coal plant engineer, right? So I grew up in like I'm like a middle American, Appalachian, right?
Oh yeah.
But all those people, were you doing a Trump Appalachia there? An
Appalachia.
But I don't, my parents were definitely, they didn't buy nice things, you know what I mean? And so I was not raised to buy nice things. And so you always get some discount bullshit, right? And then that discount bullshit falls apart. It's not great, whatever, right? And so for me to get a Traeger grill, which is like it's not some fucking elite thing, but it's like a nicer grill than just like a normal grill. I was
George
like,
Foreman.
I was like, I just want to commit to having a nice thing that I bought that I will use for the thing that it's for, and like the fact that I own it, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really about like a commercial thing. It wasn't like I'm gonna go flex some cash. It was like I'm an adult. Why don't I get a nice thing and take care of that nice thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, really important. God, Shia LaDouche is a goddamn philosopher, man.
God.
With all the
guys out
Shia
there.
LaDouche on here.
He's painting fences.
Honestly.
And he's just philosophizing, dude.
Philosophizing.
He's
a stoic and he didn't even know it.
For the record, I love hot tubs and I want one, and I'm jealous that I do not have one. But
that'd be cool.
It's all one big flex.
Yeah.
So straight up about perceived value to you, not perceived value to others. One brings you joy, the other brings you debt.
That
is
true.
Absolutely true. And I think that is a big part of the mentality, again, this like capitalist, like gonna make your bag shit, right? Like I think houses are another example of this, where like I know a lot of people, like Friday, you are a homeowner, my girlfriend's a homeowner, I am not a homeowner, Aaron, I don't think you're a homeowner either. And I know that, like, because of the way I was raised, because of the way I know how to spend money or don't know how to spend money, when I think about buying a home, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I need or want a nice home. I'm kind of like, if I were to get some small thing, some like ramshackle thing, I'd be like, I don't care that it's the size. This is a huge personal accomplishment for me to be able to even do this.
Yeah.
So I like mentally, I've never been able to spend a lot of money on things. I don't know how. It's just like not built into my psyche. Like I don't know how to spend like a $5,000 down payment on something. I go, but it's impossible. Yeah. Even though people with homes are just like, yeah, you have to put down a down payment to get a thing. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's like $300,000 down. Down.
Totally.
And you're still in debt for $1.5 million or whatever.
Totally.
A special, a no money down, 0% APR financing deal on that house I've been looking at.
All you have to do is put down gift cards that you got at previous holidays.
I have these 3 Red Lobster gift cards with $25 on each. What can it get me? Cool. I can get you like a spare tire in the Mojave Desert.
There's a great Louis C.K. scene where he's trying to buy a house and he's talking to his business manager. This is before Louis jacked off on everybody.
Yeah.
But the guy's like, what are you talking about? Like, you have no money. Like, he's like, no, I'm thinking of like a $20 million penthouse. And he's like, you make $0. Like, and you have 2 kids. It's like, it's a great scene.
It's like, maybe if you just play dumb, they'll be like, okay, like, here's the key.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Here, we'll let you cosplay as a homeowner for a couple days, and then you can give us the key back when you're ready.
Yeah.
But I think, I know we got to close this one up. We're approaching Joe Rogan time, as we like to say. But I think, the theme, I think the big thing with talking to Monica, and I think looking at deciding to be better, the big thing for me is like you got to define your own W. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Like, I think that's a really big takeaway from this is like, not everybody's goals are the same. And it doesn't like, there's not a hierarchy of goals that someone can accomplish. It is so easy to get trapped in the fucking bullshit of like, that person has more than me. That person thinks of things more than me, whatever. Like being able to like look at somebody's like penthouse in fucking Beverly Hills and be like, I want that, but I don't think that's real because I know that even with the way I find myself doing this, where I'll be like, my brain inherently goes, "Oh, I want that," but then I think about it for a second. I'm just like, I don't like those people. I don't want that. I would be miserable living in Beverly Hills with those people. Those people fucking blow. I don't get along with them, right? And so I'm kind of like, why would I want that thing? And then I kind of go, what do I want? I want to own like a shitty bar that serves 4 beers and pizza in like a random town in the forest. You know what I mean? And then like, and then I'm just like, what am I doing thinking of that other thing? So, but you have to train yourself to do that. You have to like learn how to think about what your desires are and commit to them and not let people talk you out of them. And think about like what you want and why you want that thing. And remember that it's okay if you don't. Like, it comes down to everything. It's every little life thing. It's okay if you don't want to have kids, or if it's okay if you don't want to be the CEO of the company you work for.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay. You don't have to want that thing. And if you do want that thing, there's a pathway to getting it. If you don't want that thing, that's fine. But you have to define your own W to get that perspective. And I think that's people quitting Coke, not cocaine, but Coca-Cola. Also people quitting cocaine, right? Or cocaine. But also, like we had Travis on last week where it was like, I want to stop drinking, right? Great. Here's how you do it, right? I think with like Monica, it's like she talks a lot about the things that you have to do to accomplish this shit. And so it's very inspiring, and it feels like it allows, I like thinking hard about yourself to get to these points, right?
Yeah.
Because, culture and society shouldn't tell you how to be, right? That's my stance. I'm holding to it.
I love that. And that's just like the anti-capitalism nature of our podcast. Like, capitalism makes you like it instills in us that we all want to be CEOs. We don't, and it's like, that's just a way to keep us all scratching for the top. And it's like, you don't think about it as the top. It's like different stuff, It's like you can do what you want to do, and it doesn't mean you're less than, the guy who's making 6 figures. It just means you're probably happier than him.
Totally.
Dog boobs, you need to just make the Kelly movies. If somebody gave you like
big changes,
like $52,000 a year to just make those things, like,
oh my God,
not a lot, but like that's all you do.
Yeah, and they only have to be with action figures. Incredible. Like, I don't have to pay anybody.
And there's like future potential salary bumps for like sponsorships and things. Like,
dude, it's going to be an entirely different series of films without the copyrighted James Bond music from those soundtracks. But I will find royalty-free music. It's going to be
who would be your ideal sponsor? Like Nutri-Grain bars? Like what are we thinking? Red Lobster,
Chipotle, yeah.
Like Goodyear tires. Like where's your head at?
Probably like
Suave shampoo,
sponsored by
Suave shampoo would be a pretty good one.
This. Suave's pretty good.
Sims 4.
Sponsored by the Sims 4. Ah, you guys.
Is there money in the Sims?
Duh. Oh my god, there's so much money in the Sims.
But, I mean, I feel like you're such like a savant when it comes to that stuff. I feel like, and it makes you happy.
You know what I need to do? Okay, so
I want to see you go big in the Sims world.
We'll cover this in an episode about the Sims.
We gotta do it soon. Yeah.
I am building my brand so that I can eventually start making money off of this thing. Okay, I'm making.
I mean, we are fastly approaching a 200th episode, so I think that there's a real possibility that we might have to do a like full length documentary, just a speed build.
A speed build of a four person family home in the middle of Del Sol Valley, which is the fake Los Angeles city that you can build in. Oh, you guys. It is the closest thing to Dog Boob's actual home ownership, Shia LaDouche. That is a fact. And honestly, it's helped me stave off my like jealousy of people who have nice things by just downloading nice things and putting them in my fake house.
You could get a fucking Plimbus or whatever that marble statue is in like a moment.
I have that plinth in The Sims.
There we go.
You don't need it anymore.
No, I have it all over the place. They're everywhere in my Sims houses. I stack them.
Control V, plinths all over the house.
I think you need to be focusing way harder on making you could probably just make $1 million in the Sims universe. Like,
oh yeah.
And leave everybody else in the dust. You'd be like, I'm fucking balling so hard.
Right?
Yeah, sorry guys. I can't pod today. I have to present at this conference in Dubai.
I gotta go to the Sims 4 conference
at this architecture conference in Dubai. Sorry, I can't pod today. You're like, oh, okay, well, let us know when you're free again, Dog Boo.
I won't be. Bye.
What was your guys' names again? I don't remember. Yeah. Well, I'll put you in touch with my assistant. We can figure out a time to meet.
Whatever. Yeah.
So lame.
So funny. All right, cool. Well, I know that we're at the end of this one, so thank y'all for listening. Thank you so much to Monica Livingston for joining us. That was very inspiring. I really, really like her.
So great.
Check out the let's see, Women's National Football Conference, right?
Yes.
WNFC. Check that out. It's pretty cool, man. I think it's she's literally a Hall of Famer, so that's like she's a seasoned vet.
Listen to the huddle.
Listen to the huddle. Shia LaDouche, thank you. The Boom King, perpetual 90s kid. Jessica Payne, what's up? Welcome.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for paying attention. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, like we're trying to, remember your neck width is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Never forget.
Yep.
Don't forget it.
That needs to be our next t-shirt.
With
just the ruler. There has to be a ruler right here that measures your neck, right?
Neck width is your net width.
That's what the shirt says.
We'll get it right. I got some designs in the old hopper.
That's a good design.
This is Did You Reddit, a weekly podcast about the internet by way of Reddit, the front page of the internet. My name is It's Your Dad.
I'm Dog Boobs.
My free day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Your neck width. See ya.